Baskelebe, oh yeah, bongo no be $1. Baskelebe, oh yeah, zobo no be minera. Baskelebe, ah, saffron no be sugar. Baskelebe, oh yeah, zobo no be minera. It's Graham, baba. Tomorrow.
We are 95.3 Vicinity FM. Vicinity FM 95.3.
Sound so tech.
iLiveNG.com.
What are you saying? How do we do? What are your plans for us? 'Cause we didn't have a clue. Let's get it all. You've been drinking, it got you off your mind. That's all the lies that you've been telling that you fly. You take pride in deceiving the people.
I have a dream that someday I'll be the super sun, will be the super sun. I have a dream that someday I'll be the super sun, will be the super sun. Close your
Scar, speed past, thought I'd never make it that far. Back then was only gunning for the hot bar, but I surpassed that cause Allahu Akbar. Was dreaming about a moment when things would change. 10,000 in the stadium screaming my name. 10 million back at home wanna see me live. The orgasm I give them, I ain't trying to deprive. I tell them I ain't even close to my peak yet. I ain't even close to my peak yet. There's so much more in store, you ain't peaked yet. Sometimes I count sheep, but I ain't sleep yet. Sown a lot of seeds, still we ain't reached yet. Yeah, we started off just miming. To elevate and celebrate is super rhyming. Galactic thoughts are coming in alignment. Connect with the super mind state that I'm in.
I have a dream that someday I'll be the super sun, will be the super sun. I
have a dream that someday I have a dream that someday I'll be a super son, but right now it is raining. It's a cool weather this morning. Right here at Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikijile Ijesha. If you have somewhere to be this morning and you're not out already, I'm sorry, the rain may not let you. You know, that's what they say, you know. Be at it, be fast at whatever it is you want to do. Because the rain will fall. And you can't stop the rain, and you should not allow the rain stop you or make you not go to where you have to be this morning. But we like the weather. I like it's cool. But somehow somebody say, oh, this weather is weather for two. Which weather for two? Weather for you to, you know, get something to, you know, into a cool weather like this, your brain is relaxed, settled, and cool. You get work done. So don't say it's a weather for two. That saying is not for not for somebody who is, you know, who wants to be productive for the day. It's a weather to get things done. Welcome on the morning show, Vicinity 95.3 FM. I'm Mulua Funke Ijamiam. I am your host, and it's 25 minutes past the hour of 9. Today is the 20th day in the month of May. On newspaper review, I asked, when did the May start? That's already the 20th day in May. By the time it's June, that's the end. And the second quarter of the year would just vanish, just like that. And by the time we're in third quarter, we start to see the ember months are upon us. And before you know it, this year is out again. So I tell you, whatever you have to do it now. The future is not tomorrow. The future is today, honestly. Whatever you want to see tomorrow, do it today. So when you get to tomorrow, because tomorrow never ends. When it's tomorrow, then you can tell yourself, oh, yesterday I have this done. Welcome on the show. Today, let's look at, you know, there's this bill that since the National Assembly, you know, resumed sitting. Honestly, there's been one bill or the other, and some it's not really giving us joy. This brings me to this bill that say you are going to vote in the next election. While we look forward to 2027 general election and other off-cycle election in the state. I don't know, maybe this also goes for off-cycle election, because Osun State as well will be preparing for its off-cycle since we don't join others, in the general election. That's why they are called off-cycle. So Osun is going to polls in 2026. And now the National Assembly has passed a bill that has reached its second reading, passed its second reading, that voters, there will be a compulsory vote. Your vote will be made compulsory. That means we have to all go out there. If you're an eligible voter, an electorate, that you are eligible, you would go out there and vote, and it is compulsory. Now, for a system like ours, where people have a lot of reasons for not going out to vote, either from not accessing PVC. You know how it's hard to get permanent voters card. There are people who even have the mind to say, oh, let me go line up. By the time you get there, you see thousands of people. Then you ask yourself, when is it going to get to my turn? And we know this our system, we have not really worked on this, where when we have to get something, especially something that is free, something that is issued by the government, like the NIN, the PVC, and all these other things, you have to, it's always a rigorous one. And for people who say, is it because of PVC I will leave my business, leave my job, and all of that? I'm not going to do this. So I had the experience, during the Ondo State election while I was still in Ondo area. And there were places where you can register for your PVC, and people will go there and say, what is happening here? Why is this crowd like this? Did people not vote in 2023? Why is it that it's in 2024? And things are now hard and all of that. At the end of the day, some people didn't get to vote because they didn't have the means. So one, accessibility to this thing that allow you to vote, that's a permanent voters card. I know INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, is also seeking to see that people get to vote without their PVC as a permanent voters card. So it won't be an excuse that, oh, I have no PVC, so I cannot vote. They are looking to that, and also other amendments to Electoral Act. The INEC is seeking that before 2027 election. But with that, let's go to other concerns that people really don't like to go out to vote, because somehow, even when you get to the polling units, some people are lobbying that, okay, vote for these people, vote for this. Oh, this place is where you have to vote for this category of people. There are some states and cities where, the thing goes sour. And there's people are afraid that I'm coming out to vote, and one violence or a kind of chaos may occur, and I am saving my head. Honestly, even if I want to die, I don't want to die for this country, or in the place where I'm performing my civic duty to vote, then something happens to me. What am I going to say? Some of it were evident in the 2023 election in some cities. So let's not even go there, because they are not even sweet stories to tell. And these are concerns. Others have, will my vote count? Because when we hear, well, now we have seen the reduction of, ballot boxes being snatched. But with that, people will tell you, where I go to vote, then somehow my vote does not count, or this and that. So I'm not going. I'm not sure if my vote is secured, if my even life is secured. So I'm not going out there to vote. So these are concerns. And now National Assembly, had a sitting, and they decided that one of the bill that concerns Nigeria and that will do us good is to make voting compulsory for eligible electorates. At this point, the human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has strongly opposed the proposed bill to make voting compulsory in Nigeria. Even for a layman, when you hear that something like this is made compulsory, you ask yourself why. Why would something like this be made compulsory? In as much as we live in a sovereign nation where everything comes with freedom, though we speak of freedom, but sometimes people feel their freedom is not, they don't even enjoy freedom to some extent. But at the same time, voting should be something I want to do from my free mind. I should not be forced, to vote. Either, the land is secured or my votes will count. There are reasons why people go out there to vote. And I should have a reason to vote, not because I'm being compelled to vote. Always there's there's this agitation that if we don't have voters card, maybe we might be denied something, because then our parents will tell us that you better go and get your voters card, because when you get to this place and this place, they will ask you, this is election period, do you have voters card? Maybe that is what will be used as a means to assess you, and if you don't have, they might just ask you to go back. So there is this fear, I remember vividly. So we, at that point, even young people then just get voters card because they just feel I should have voters card, because you don't know what Nigerian government will do. Maybe if I don't have my voters card and I'm supposed to get into some office or ministries of the government ministries, departments or agencies, and they ask me for my voters card, I don't have, they just tell me, oh yeah, auntie, egbabeye, to that road, you don't belong here and all of that. So people have that fear. Well, for me, it was what was obtainable at the time while we were young, and we're told that we've reached, eligible stage to vote. We just get the voters card because we don't know what will happen. But for some young people, even at that stage too, they decided to go out to get the voters card, not because they want to have it, but because they feel they have, it's a franchise, and they really want to participate, so they have it. So there are two categories of young people at the time: the one who just want to feel safe that I have voters card, and others who just feel, okay, I want to participate in this. It's kuku my civic responsibility, so let's go there. And during the plenary, the bill citing Australia as a model where compulsory voting has reportedly enhanced civic responsibility. I like when sometimes we like to cite, some of these things, or from the global angle. We look at countries in the world that their systems are well put together. There is no perfect country out there. Yeah, true. There is no, completely sane nation out there. But there are better, systems out there in the world, on the global scene. And now, the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, supported the bill, citing Australia as a model where compulsory voting has reportedly enhanced civic responsibility. Look at all of the challenges we face during election. Let's even thank God that Electoral Act has made some things sane. Before, the moment you just hear primaries has ended, there will be poster everywhere, noise everywhere. If it's even possible to campaign in the midnight, no, they do it though, but that's party thing. You will hear noise everywhere, like it will even turn crusade and all of that. But because of the Electoral Act, they now minimize campaign period that's until this stipulated times, few months to election, the main election. That's when you have the opportunity to campaign. Thankfully, this was done during the era of former President Muhammad Buhari. And now, bringing me back to, citing Australia. Now, look at Nigeria. See, Australia. We're trying to put two countries together that don't have the same formation. We don't have the same system. What is obtainable in Australia is not the same here. This is a different place. This is Africa. Australia is Europe. And we're comparing Africa to Europe. While I like to speak well of Africa or Nigeria, whatever, of course, this is my fatherland. But let's not, hide under the fact that we have challenges that we are still yet to surmount. And we can't compare ourselves to some of these developed nations. It's not what we should do. We're grappling with a lot of things. And if you are saying that because Australia made voting compulsory, then this is where we want to get an example. I like that Nigerians like to cite examples like this. But when it comes to other things that will benefit, the majority, we don't, we don't look out there to see how better can we curb corruption. Well, set things right, set things straight. Then, set things right, set things straight. Then you can now say, you don't have to make it compulsory. Nigerians will vote. Trust me. If Nigeria really have something to do, they really want to do something, they will do it. And the senior advocate of Nigeria, Falana, said compulsory voting is not enough and faulted the legislative move on constitutional voting is not enough and faulted the legislative move on constitutional grounds. Now we like this bill has been out for a while, and somehow people are saying, well, I don't know how many people you're going to jail because you pay 100,000 naira fine or you go to 6 months jail. now that we have heard from the Minister of Interior, they're saying that they're even trying to grant some people, you know, let some people go, people who committed maybe little offense that should have just, you know, they should have gotten bail by just paying fine, and they're trying to see that, you know, they free all our correctional centers. So looking forward in 2027, a lot of people may end up in correctional centers that they are even trying to create space for because of compulsory voting and all of that. If you don't vote, well, you may have to face 100%, 100,000 naira fine or 6 months in jail. 6 months. You know, some people will pray that, no, I never go near anything prison. Maybe at this point, you have to, you know, take that confession seriously, especially where now we're talking about making voting compulsory. We'll be right back.
Hey, 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 them no understand what you face on your own when you run your race. No one can see it, no one can fail, but you keep it cool, cause you're trying to keep it real. You done the ground too long, now be today on your grind so long, but it's not the way. And if you follow what in them do, you know go make a man up. When you see the mountain, you gonna climb it, you gonna climb.
When we see the mountains, we're gonna climb, but this mountain, I'm not sure we are ready to climb. So let me not make conclusion on this matter. You know, you can join the conversation this morning. 081-3237-1268, 081-3237-1268. What are your take on this compulsory voting, especially with the senior advocate of Nigeria citing, you know, this is unconstitutional and on every grounds. And also, he also mentioned that the Speaker of the House of Representatives probably wants Nigeria to join Egypt, because in the international scene, it's only Australia that allows for compulsory voting, and in Africa, it's only Egypt. And now, out of the 23 globally with provisions for compulsory voting, now Egypt. Yeah, we say Egypt is in Africa, so if African countries doing it, why can't we? Well, we're not Egypt. Egypt is not Nigeria, though we're in Africa. Egypt is East Africa. This is West Africa. So let's get that clear. With all of this comparison, even comparing to countries is not the issue now. What's our system like? What can our system take, or, you know, allow to thrive? Because what works for A may not work for B. What is good for the goods may not be good for the gander. 081-3237-1268. Let me even ask, when last did you even, you know, participate in voting? You know, for some of us, we have PVC. Some people have PVC. I'm sure they don't even, they will just be using the PVC. Some people have turned their PVC to ID card. At least if you don't have driver's license, you don't have a international traveling passport, or you don't work in a place where you have ID card. I know sometimes company ID card, there are some companies or organizations where you work that people don't really see, you know, the place use the ID card. It's not something that you can use at some places. They tell you, this is your organization. So we even know if your organization is registered under can. So how can we take your ID card? No, bring us something. So there are even some ID card you cannot use out there. It's only, you know, relevant with your organization. When you're out there, they tell you, no, provide us with maybe driver's license, NIN, or voter's card, your traveling passport. These are ways to identify you well, because this one are issued by the Nigerian government or agencies. So we say that they recognize it more than your company's ID card. So somehow people just use their PVC as ID card like, kukuni moto. So I don't have a vehicle I drive, so why do I need driver's license? But PVC, everyone should have a PVC. Objective and directive principles of state policy, which remains non-justifiable, and compulsory voting, he said, cannot be legalized, apart from the possibility that it may be declared illegal under the current political dispensation. He said it is practically impossible to prosecute millions of Nigeria who may decide to boycott national and local elections that have been reduced to the periodic renewal of misgovernance, corruption, and abuse of power by pampered members of the political class. He also mentioned that this provides for popular participation in the democratic process. Compulsory voting may only be justified if there is Chapter 2 thereof is non-justiciable. If you even talking about election and forcing Nigerians to vote, have you considered the issue of misgovernance, the issue of corruption, the issue of abuse of power, and then pampered members of the political class? Have you considered what people face when they go out there to vote? Have you considered that, the fear that anytime we're approaching election, people are just they tell you, oh, don't go out late at night, don't do this, don't do that, it's the election period, everywhere there's increasing agitation because it's the period of election. Why do we have to feel that when we're going into election, it feels like, and all of that? So these are the concerns raised by Falana. Have we addressed these issues first before we make something like this compulsory? Because there are challenges in our, electoral system of voting in Nigeria. We should address that first before we talk about now making voting compulsory. Somehow, we get to make something work. You don't have to force people to do it, because they see that this is my civic responsibility. It counts, my votes count, and if I don't vote, I will not get the leader I want to be there. So let's go out to vote. When a system is this good, you don't have to force people. It's only now that it's like a force. It is questionable, honestly. And I think that at this point, we would not tell Nigerians what to do, but we're in our right minds to think of what this would mean for us. Because at the end of the day, if millions of Nigerians, we have about 200 million Nigerians, so let's say, and if you even look at statistics, they tell you maybe 3 million or how many millions of people registered, eligible registered voters, and at the end of the day, some of them half of these registered voters may not even vote. So let's now say they want to make it compulsory. Of course, over 200 million Nigerians are not eligible to vote because some have not reached that age. But at the end of the day, let's say 70% or 65% of Nigerians are eligible. Do you think we all would have the means to vote? And then can they even provide the resources for all of us to vote? These are the things we should consider. Because they are saying they ought to make voting compulsory. If all of us now eventually say, okay, we're afraid to go to jail or pay 100,000 naira fine, and we come out to vote, is there resources enough to even cater for us, like security, the materials, the personnel, and all of that? These are the things that should be put in consideration, not just putting some bill out there and say let's jump, and we all just jump.
This is just a test, soon it will be complete. Cause if you follow waiting them talk, you go make a matter. And if you follow waiting them do, you go make a matter.
But for media, we will provide a voter's education. It's important that we know this is where we should know the power still lies in our hands. Because now that they're making voting compulsory, it means that if it's not important to them that Nigerians vote, they won't even talk about voting. They say, anybody will vote, may vote now. Anyhow, we'll go shall win. Now they understand that the power still lies in us, and this is where we also should make our demands as well. And I know when it comes to voting, there's just a lot that goes on in the country. But at this point, if we can't bridge the gap between, the elites, the people ruling us, and the rules, And they will come to have, maybe not a round table. We don't want a round table, conversation, dialogue. That, well, you've made your demands, but these are the things you should put in place, to ensure voters are well catered for on elections or during elections, pre, during, and post-election. It's important because if you are saying this should be made compulsory, well, we too, we're asking that, allowing us to vote free, fair, holding a free, fair, and credible election should also be made compulsory. That's our own demands. And this is where we have to, put the score and see that, yes, if you can meet us halfway, we'll meet you halfway. You don't have to make it compulsory. It's okay. It's okay. We would vote.
Through your bones, let it burn. 'Cause if you follow it in them talk, you know gon' make a matter. And if you follow it in them do, you know gon' make a matter. When you see the mountain, you gonna you see the mountain, you
In towards Lukaku.
Entertainment, politics, all on your darling station, Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile, Ijesha.
I did count my blessings, I did count my blessings, I did.
We're grateful for the rain. I'm afraid this is where we get to say our bye on the morning show, Vicinity 95.3 FM. Ikejile, Ijesha. It's a cool morning. Go out there. Go do something great. The weather is cool. And go just have a great day. I'm Oluwafunke Israel. Thanks for joining us on the morning show. So we'll come your way tomorrow. God's willing. Executive producer Yadishula Salami. Have yourself a great, cool day.
He dey make me want to turn around. He dey make me shout hallelujah. He dey make me dance, break it dance. He dey make me want to clap my hands. He dey make